So here we are with a board, deck and dice first impression of Outlive Collector's Edition. This is a kind of worker movement game. Well, it's worker placement for me now because I can move anywhere I want, apart from on spaces where I already am. So you're moving around the city, collecting resources, hunting animals, trying to gather survivors and bring them into your shelter, because in 6 days a colony is coming to recruit the best survivors to their underwater submarine as opposed to their overwater submarine. Interestingly, each of your heroes, they're called, have a number on them in the back, and they actually have the number of figures on them, and that's like their strength, the amount of actions they get to take in each place. Also, if they go somewhere where there's a weaker hero of another colour, they can bully them. You have to watch out for radiation, which gives you minus points at the end if you've got enough people in your airlock. That stops the radiation coming through, and various rooms give you other abilities, like 1 permanent water, Mother Hubbards. Eat it. How do you feel about my permanent water?
Bitch.
How do you feel about my ability to ignore all events?
That's just not fun.
Well, I don't get any points from solving them, though. That's worrying me.
Don't you?
So we've played...
You can still solve them, though, can't you?
Yeah, I can solve them, but they're not as imperative for me to solve. So and that's the points, kind of. There's a lot of points on events, it seems. I'm not sure it's going to be very high scoring. I'm reckoning 30s to 40s max.
Well, you get 17 if you do 7 rooms. So.
And fill them and feed them on the last round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, you're not. You're saying that's good.
I wasn't.
So we played halfway through because Mark forgot to tell us to do the video at the start.
Yeah, it's always my fault.
What do you reckon, Mark?
The way you take actions is quite different. I think, like moving, because you sort of think, oh, you can go anywhere, but there's a lot of
I can, Mark. I built an exoskeleton.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to move out of somewhere to be able to use it.
Yes.
If you see what I mean. So I can't use these, obviously.
Even the phone failed to focus on Mark for a moment there. Yeah, you can't go. The only restriction is you can't go where you already are, and you can only normally move 1 to 2 around. I feel like we're all kind of exploring probably a bit too broadly on this first go. Like if you employed one strategy, like go for all the events, that would probably be a winning strategy. So, Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, it's like Mark said, you do really have to plan out where you're going to go and when it's
future turns as well, don't you?
Yeah,
you have to think about.
You do have to think about where you are going to put your markers so that you're doing things in the right order to gather the resources for later.
Yeah.
Like for when you're going hunting.
Like I think you've got quite a nice setup here because you've got 2 either side, which basically means you can kind of reach anywhere. If I didn't have the move anywhere, this is pretty rubbish. Having the 3 on this corner.
Yeah, it is.
So.
But no, it seems very tight as well, making sure that you've got everything you need for the end of round.
This night phase is it's brutal because you have to solve events, then you have to feed survivors in your colony, including water for the air vent. Then the radioactivity comes out, and so you have to get your people in your air vent at the right time, don't you? Basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. Well, we'll come back at the end of the game when Chris has won, because I think he's got the most events, and
let's hope.
See how we feel. Well, we had just finished, and this was well, I felt like I was doing all right up until a point, but without getting events, you haven't got a chance. And then at the end, I had to smash my rooms. I think there's quite a good strategy in the last round. You want to buy as many survivors as you can, so you want to have leftover food. To at least you want to have at least 5, don't you? Because
I filled that on the last go.
If you want to have 3 in there ideally and already.
Well, the good thing about it is you do radiation and then you move your survivors out.
Yes, but you have to feed your survivors before you do radiation. So if you haven't got the water, which I gave up, I think I scored more points giving up the water in the last round. I jumped up -3, but I got 4. So it probably, if I'd got that, I'd have got 3. I know I'd have done better. I'd have been -4 and +3. Oh, I don't know.
But I would have done better.
It's thingies. Yeah, Chris got 29. Just ultimately by doing the events. 17 points from the events. But because I had the power that I was immune to events, I didn't really think about their point things. But they are a bit like Imaginarium. The points are there from the kind of goals. But I really like the way it worked. It's quite thematic actually in terms of
definitely.
How it works out. The things have been thought out. A bit of a mix on the component. Like some of these, I mean, they're all right, but they're quite thin and that.
And the seaweed one.
The seaweed ones, like, well, it's the same as these, isn't it? But just
Is it?
when you compare it to everything else, it's a bit bleh. Because all the components, and these are a bit weird as well. The metal is a bit not in keeping with how it looks on there.
Neither is that.
No, but it's more so.
Yeah, that is. The wood is.
Yeah. But no, it works really well. Not once you're playing, it's not too. I mean, you two always ask stupid questions anyway. But once you're playing, it's not too bad to remember stuff either. I think there's
once you've got a round or two under your belt.
Almost the night phase, which is why probably only the night phase is on here, to be honest, because you have the dawn, which is just refreshing the board. That's the only slight complication depending on player counts, because you have to take some out, and because I bought this second hand, I didn't know what's expansion or not, so I just chucked it all in, because the expansions are only very minor.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite good having a bit of suspense in there other than just empty.
What was the expansion other than the...
So these ones that give less food but give points for that. There was some more rooms, the raiders, just more leaders and everything. Like your leader was from the expansion. More equipment. So it's like mini expansions. The only ones that really changed stuff were this and this minorly, I think.
But I think the more rooms will obviously makes a big difference.
Yeah.
To the game, what rooms you have.
Yeah, I didn't realise before that you choose. So you kind of choosing your strategy from the start, because you get given 6 rooms and you have to choose 4 of them. Your 3 on this side are always the same, and your 4 on this side you choose from 6 that you draw randomly, and that's quite. For our first game, I think we all did all right, really, not to be in minus points, because we were crafting our strategy based on our rooms kind of unknown. And I think if you can maybe get like the permanent water, there was one that I turned down that gave me 4 permanent water, but every go it put my radiation up. But if I'd have got it with that one that you got, then built those 2, then the radiation would be.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't, and I could just fill that because I would have 4 water, you know. So that's 2 rooms. That's your airlock and another room, basically. Maybe 2 if you've chosen some ones. The other ones I chose hunting. I could have done that and got +1 hunting food. That might have worked out for me a little bit. And hero pressure. A hero value 3 is immune to pressure. Those are 2 I didn't use.
You didn't use that?
Didn't use it. No, didn't build it. So yeah, I think I would definitely choose different rooms next time. But from the 6, I think the 2 I turned down, I think were probably better than I thought. How'd you find it, Mark?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I kept forgetting to recruit survivors in the night phase. I did it at least once, which was annoying. But yeah, it's not like anything else I've played really, with the worker movement.
Says that every time. Yeah. Mark? Chris? Mark?
Yeah, no, I thought I played quite well to my board, really, especially using the this one for the events to save me either from using 2v2 or 2
and we all had that available.
Yeah, I thought as soon as I got that done,
and it's cheap on the food, isn't it?
Yeah, which was on the second round. Then I concentrated on the events.
I should have got this one built, which gave me -2 materials for building rooms.
Yeah.
I should have done that one earlier and filled it. I did it quite early. But
I was tempted by it.
Yeah, you could just build all your rooms, couldn't you? There's no penalty if you've got leftover wood. You could just build them all and hope that the last 2 rounds you're just going to fill, because that is massive points there. If you get all 7 rooms built and filled,
17.
That's 17 points plus 1 for every survivor.
Yeah.
But you'd have a big thing to pay out.
Yeah.
you'd want to have stacked up.
Yeah.
Team
You'd have
food.
You'd have to do them in the right order, wouldn't you?
Well, that if you left them in the shelter until right at that moment, 7 of them, then you're only going to take -3 points.
But that's only ever going to fill 2 rooms at the very end.
Yeah, but you could easily do that if you built them all. You know, 6 rounds. If you built this if you build this as your free one, over 6 rounds you get, you know. Oh, I should have fixed it. Oh, I should have more. What would I've got? Oh, I'd have won the game, so I'd have got a goat. What? I don't get the goat.
But yeah, no, I like the style of it. I like the fact that it does really feel like at the end of the round you're going, have I got enough resources for my shelter? You kind of get that feeling from it. And
you're all hoping that you feed the survivors after the radiation effects, but of course it's the other way around.
Yeah, and it does make you really feel, it's very thematic.
Yeah, so I chose to solve the event at the expense of my airlock.
Yeah.
So, and it cost me 3 negative points. I thought it was going to cost me 2, so I made a miscalculation there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the games from this company because it's the same people who do Ilos, which is that island one.
Yeah,
and you played that as well, haven't you?
Yes.
And 3 players, it was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And quick.
And I do like how this movement works. You do really have to plan it out. Whereas the exoskeleton is great, but to begin with, you do really have to plan out your attack.
Even with the exoskeleton, you still can't move.
I got 7 points from those. I think you could get some really good points from these, couldn't you? If you got if you do start pairing them up, because 1 point per, so I got 7 points off that, which does seem to be quite a big score.
Yeah, no, that's true.
From my rooms and my, how did I do so bad? How did I only get 19? 7, 12, 19 minus, oh yeah.
It's a minus and you didn't get it
4.
did you?
Oh, I can't remember.
Not 1.
Yeah, I think I may have calculated wrong and I may actually have beaten you, Mark. So yeah, that's Outlive. We really enjoyed it. Definitely, if you like worker placement, worker movement, with some planning, even if you get the exosuit, like I say, you can't go. If you want to go somewhere where you already are, you have to clear out first. I found the intimidation or whatever it's called, pressuring, didn't happen as much as I thought it might.
No.
But that's only because you're a right git.
Well, I don't know about that. You guys did pressure me quite a lot.
Maybe what I'm saying is I thought you would have relied on that a lot more.
Yeah, I didn't really need to. What I did was I stacked resources enough to be able to defend it.
Shut up.
And because it's only ever going to be a maximum of 2.
Yeah. Well, there were some cards that could change that.
Yeah. I thought I did try and plan for the possibility of that.
I was tempted by the baseball bat.
I bet.
Cool, that is Outlive. Thanks for watching Board Deck and Dice. We will see you next time. Horrible.